Europe, what are you doing? These geography facts sound fake, but apparently they're real. Let's find out.
Number 1.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Moscow,
I love geography.
Istanbul and London are the 3 most populated cities in Europe by urban area, with 17.7, 15.3 and 11.2 million respectively.
Wow, I would have guessed London had a higher population than Moscow and Istanbul. Wow, shows you how lost I am.
By city limits population, however, Istanbul is the most populated, followed by
By the way,
Moscow,
this video was
and then
3 years
London,
ago too.
With 15.3, 12.5,
So
and
some
9
of this might
respectively.
be
Number
slightly
2,
different.
The tallest building in Europe is in St. Petersburg in Russia, soaring into the sky like a glass.
No way. I live in St. Petersburg, or I used to live in St. Petersburg. Florida, though, not Russia. But what a beautiful building.
The Lakhdar Center is a whopping 460 meters in height. There are 87 stories in total. For reference, it is not far off half the size of the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Number 3,
wow, it's still so
English
short
is the
compared
most
to the Burj
spoken
Khalifa.
language on the continent, with 51% of the population being able to speak it as a first or second language. German
Wow, I would have
comes in
guessed it would be
second
less.
at 32%, and then French third at 26%.
That's
Number
crazy.
4,
I would have guessed for it
Russia
to be
is
less.
the most populated country in Europe, as more than half of Russia's population is found in its European section, around 110 million in total. However, as mentioned earlier,
sense.
Russia of course spans across Europe and Asia, which is called Eurasia. For the country
Right, I think what breaks it up is some sort of mountain range, right? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's a mountain range. If you know that mountain range, put it in the chat.
with the highest population
That breaks up Europe, Russia's European side and Russia's Asian side.
that is purely in Europe, it will be Germany at just under 84 million. Number 5. The geographical center point of Europe is a village named Pernuskes in Lithuania, located roughly 26 kilometers from its capital, Vilnius.
What's crazy about this? I literally saw a video. I think it was on X. It could have been a short or something, but I saw a video that showed that there was 3 countries that thought they were the geographical center of Europe. And one of them was Ukraine, one of them was with Lithuania, and I can't remember what the other one was, though. It was, like, Hungary or something. I can't remember which one it was, but that's funny. I literally just saw that, like, a week ago, too.
Number 6. Europe is the second smallest continent in size, at just over 10 million kilometers squared, making it just larger than the United States, but just a third of the size of the continent of Africa. Number 7.
Crazy.
Despite the continent
Africa's
being the
so
second
big.
smallest by area, it has the third largest population, with around 748 million people. Number 8. Europe is entirely in the northern hemisphere, and most of the continent's landmass is in the eastern hemisphere. This is quite ironic, as the continent, along with America,
Wow, the
is often
UK
referred to as the West.
splits
Number
the
9.
prime meridian.
North Cape is
I
the
didn't
most
know that.
northern point on the European landmass. Punta de Tarifa in Spain is the most southern point. Cabo da Roco in
Yeah, I can see
Portugal
that.
is the most western point. And finally, the most eastern point is actually undecided and is different depending on your definition of European borders. It lies somewhere in the Ural watershed. Number 10.
I think that's the mountains I was
European
talking about
mammal
earlier.
fauna consists of 270 species, 78 of them endemic to Europe. 15% of them are threatened with extinction, and
It's a bobcat.
27% have been identified as declining. Number 11. The most expensive house in Europe, and in fact the world, is Buckingham Palace, valued at just under $3 billion. It comprises of 775 rooms,
3 billion? No
78
way.
bathrooms, 92 offices,
$3
and
billion?
19 staterooms.
That's insane.
Number 12.
They must have crazy
At
artwork in there then.
19.5 million, London was the most visited city in Europe in 2019, pre-pandemic, making it the third most visited city in the world, behind Hong Kong and Bangkok. Number 13.
Hong Kong's
the
number
3
1?
largest
Wow.
countries in Europe
Never would
are
have guessed
Russia,
that.
Ukraine, and France. The part of Russia that is found in Europe is bigger than any other country on the continent. Number 14. The smallest country in Europe, and in fact the world, is
Vatican.
the Vatican City. It is the smallest
Vatican
both
City
by
state.
land area and population. Number
So
15.
tiny.
Norway has 83,000 kilometers of coastline, the longest coastline in Europe and the second longest in the world,
Wow.
only behind Canada. Number
You know
16.
why? 'Cause
There
all the
are
islands.
24 official languages in Europe, but more like 200 languages that are actually spoken around the continent. Number 17. In 2019, 7 of the top 10 most visited tourist attractions in the world were in Europe, the most visited being the Colosseum in Rome at 7.4 million visitors.
Wow,
Number 18,
I would love to go there.
Liechtenstein, the 4th smallest country in Europe.
Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein? Is that how you pronounce that? I thought it was Liechtenstein. Am I wrong there? Put it in the chat if I'm wrong about that. Liechtenstein?
Does not have an airport. It is also a double landlocked country, meaning it's landlocked and the countries surrounding it are also landlocked. Number 19.
No way. That has to be the only country that's double landlocked. I'm gonna have to look that up. Is that the only country that's double landlocked like that? That's crazy if it is.
Though Europe has just over 10% of the world's population, it is responsible for a quarter of the world's GDP, roughly 23.5 trillion US dollars. If Europe was a single country, this would mean they'd have the highest GDP in the world, placing them only slightly ahead of the United States. Number 20. Again, if...
Wow, with all of Europe combined, it's still only slightly ahead of the US. That's crazy. And Europe has, what, like 45 countries or something? More, maybe? Maybe it's around the low 40s.
Europe was a single country, it would be the 3rd most populated in the world, behind China and India.
Oh yeah, you can tell this is an older video because India's ahead of China now, and they have like 1.45 billion, something like that. But yeah, you can tell this is 3 years old or older.
It would have roughly half of the population of both of these countries. Number 21.
Crazy.
Now, this one really did take me by surprise. Kazakhstan is partially in Europe. It is a transcontinental country that sits nicely in Central Asia, but as it's so large, it stretches across to Eastern Europe, where around 10% of its population live. Number 22.
Wait, really? Is that true? Kazakhstan's also part of Europe? I didn't know that. I thought it was just Turkey and Russia that are both in Asia and Europe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. I thought Kazakhstan was only Asian.
There is a rainforest in Europe. Yes, Europe's climate allows for rainforests. One of the last remaining is Perekika in Bosnia. The 3,500-acre forest is a reserve of UNESCO's World Heritage List. Number 23.
But the only one
10
that's crazy.
villages in Scandinavia have the shortest city or town names in Europe, just 1 letter long. The city name, which means small brook or river in all Scandinavian languages, is found 9 times through the countries. Number 24. Wow. There are more bicycles than people in the Netherlands. Cycling is so popular in the Netherlands that 84% of all Dutch own at least one bicycle. With 22.3 million bicycles in the country for its 17 million residents, bike traffic and congestion is actually becoming a problem. Number 20.
Oh, I bet it is. You know, if I lived in, and I'm sure a lot of people do this there's probably a ton of bike shops, but for a business, if I lived in the Netherlands, I would get good at repairing bikes or knowing how to repair bikes and open up a bike shop. I'm sure a lot of people thought of that already, though. That's crazy, though.
25. Monaco has the highest life expectancy not just in Europe, but the entire world. Maybe it's because of Monaco's beautiful sun-drenched location along the French Riviera. Maybe it's because of the popularity of the Mediterranean diet, found to be one of the healthiest in the world. In any case, the people of Monaco live on average to be
almost 90
years.
That's crazy. It's like 78 for the US. That's crazy.
Europe, but the entire world. Number 26. Now, which company do you think has the highest value in Europe? It must be one of Germany's car companies like Volkswagen, right? Nope, it's LVMH, or Louis Vuitton as it's more commonly known. It is the most valuable company on the continent, at a market cap of around 350 billion US dollars. LVMH controls around 60 subsidiaries that each manage a small number of prestigious brands. Number 27. Now, Europe isn't really known for its tall skyscrapers. It is more of a continent filled with ruins and castles. The city in Europe with the most skyscrapers belongs to Moscow at 65, placing them 29th highest in the world.
I'm moving to Moscow.
Heathrow Airport in London is the busiest airport on the continent. Pre-pandemic in 2019, nearly 81 million
I could see Atlanta
passed through.
being up there.
However,
for sure.
Heathrow was dethroned in 2020 and 2021 by Istanbul Airport, which actually opened in 2019. Number 29.
Wow, only
Iceland
2019
is the
and
least densely populated country in Europe. at just 3 people per kilometers squared. However, the majority of the
Wow.
country live in its capital, Reykjavik, which has a population density of 480 people per kilometers squared. Number 30. According
still
to
kinda
Visual
small.
Capitalists' estimations, London is the city with the highest GDP in Europe at around $1 trillion US, placing them 5th in the world and just above Paris. Number 31. Europe is home to the deadliest and longest war in recorded history. World War II at around 80 million deaths, and Reconquista at around 781 years. The Reconquista was a period in the history of the Iberian Peninsula of
Oh,
about
that's Spain.
780
That's Spain
years
right
of
there.
war between
Yeah,
Spanish Christians
Spain.
and Muslims. Number 32. On the 11th of August 2021, Sicily in Italy recorded the highest ever temperature in Europe at 48.8 degrees Celsius or 120 degrees
48.8.
Fahrenheit.
What is that? I mean, I gotta look that up. 48.8. That's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, to be honest, pretty warm. I mean, I'm in Florida, but what's crazy is that the hottest it's ever been in the Tampa Bay area was this past summer. It was 100 degrees. 100 degrees was hit for the first time in recorded history in Tampa, which you would think it would be, you know, way above 100, or it's been 100 many, many times, many years. But yeah, first time it hit 100 degrees in recorded history. It did get up to about 120 with the heat index, the humidity, but yeah, still crazy.
Number 33. And on the other end of the spectrum, the lowest temperature ever recorded in Europe was minus 58.1 degrees Celsius, or
Negative
minus
72
72.6
Fahrenheit.
degrees Fahrenheit
Woo!
in Russia.
Nope, no thanks.
Number 34.
No thanks.
According to the Economist Intelligent Units ranking, Zurich is the most livable city in Europe and the 7th most livable in the world. Number 35.
I have a friend that lives
At
there,
around
actually.
75% in 2021, Norway is the country with the highest share of plug-in electric car sales in Europe. For reference, Iceland comes in second at 45%. Number 36.
Wow, at least Scandinavian countries, huh?
With Google Play Games, you can play unlocked.
Just one of the world's 7 wonders of the world is found in Europe, the Colosseum, located in Rome, Italy. Likewise, just one of the world's 7 natural wonders is also located in Europe. And technically, it isn't even Europe, it's in space. It is the Northern Lights, or the Aurora Borealis.
That's crazy.
Number 37. The richest country on the continent when measuring GDP or economy size goes to Germany at around 4.2 trillion US dollars, placing them 4th in the world. Number
Still up
38.
there.
When it comes to GDP per capita, however, Liechtenstein is the richest in
Liechtenstein, or Liechtenstein. Guys, tell me in the comments which one it is. You know what? I would have guessed that would be Luxembourg over Liechtenstein. I'm going to say Liechtenstein until I'm corrected on that.
Europe, and in fact the world. In 2020, the United Nations estimated this value to be around 180,000 US dollars. Number 39. The country with the most Nobel Prizes in Europe belongs to the UK at 138. It must be noted, however, that Frederick Sanger received this prestigious award twice for his work in chemistry. Number 40. The top 3 countries in the world with the most islands are all in Europe, and they are all in fact Nordic countries and
Yeah,
neighbours.
Scandinavian.
This is Sweden, Norway and Finland.
Finland,
They
all
have
right there next to each other.
268,000, 239,000 and 179,000 islands each, respectively. Number 41.
Crazy.
At 136, Germany has the most billionaires in Europe. Per 2 million people, there are roughly 3 billionaires. To put this in perspective, the US is the country with the most billionaires at 724 and 3.9 billionaires per 2 million people. Number 42. Germany not only excels in wealth, it plays pretty good football too, or soccer depending on where you're from.
Yeah,
With
they've
a
won quite a
total
few
of
World
4
Cups,
World
haven't
Cup
they?
wins, the German have the equal
4,
most
that's
World
it.
Cup trophies in Europe, tying
Almost
with
up there with
Italy.
Brazil.
However, Germany have 4
Wow, they've been in
runners-up
8
medals
finals, though.
compared to Italy's 2. Number 43. Excluding Russia, Germany is the highest CO2 emitting country in Europe. Its CO2 emissions are estimated to be around 800 million tons, making them then the 6th highest emitter in the world. For reference, the UK is the 17th highest emitter at around 370 million tonnes, so more than half. Number 44. At 3,790 kilometers, the Volga River is the longest river and the 16th longest in the world. Situated in Russia, it flows through central Russia to southern Russia and into the Caspian Sea. Number 45. Camp Nou, Barcelona FC's football or soccer stadium, is the highest capacity stadium in Europe at just under 100,000. Although this stadium is unbelievably huge and impressive, it still does not feature in the top 10
Oh yeah,
in the
it's
world.
right there.
Number 46.
It was right there.
Germans sure huge and impressive.
It's right there. Michigan Wolverines, 107,000. Oh yeah, cricket in India. I'm sure. I'm not surprised that that's not way up there.
It still does not feature in the top 10 in the world. Number 46. Germans sure do love a museum. At 6,741, Germany has by far the most museums in Europe, the second most in the world, only to the US, who have a mind-boggling
US is insane with museums.
Number 47.
I've been to
at around 34%,
dozens.
Apple just beats Samsung at being the smartphone vendor with the highest market share across the European continent. The UK is the country with the highest market share of Apple users at 53%. Number 48. The euro is the official currency of 19 of the 27 member states of the European Union. It is classed as the second most important currency in the world, only behind the US dollar. Number 49.
That's right.
Spread across 52 acres and located in Poland, Malbork Castle is the largest castle in Europe and of course the world. It is also considered the largest brick structure ever built with human hands. And finally, number
Whoa, largest brick structure ever built. I thought that was a port off of like Key West, the Florida Keys, that was the largest brick structure ever built, and it was never completed, I think. Not a port, it was like a base. What do they call that? Not a port, it was a I'm gonna look it up, and if I'm right, I'm gonna put it on the screen. That I think that was the largest brick structure ever built in the world, in the Keys. I'm gonna ask AI. We'll see.
50. Bulgaria is the oldest country in Europe and the only country that has not changed its name since it was first established. Kosovo, on the other hand,
in what year though? What year was it established?
Is the youngest country in Europe. While Serbia and a handful of other countries such as Russia and China do not recognize Kosovo's independence, the International Court of Justice ruled that Kosovo is a sovereign nation in
So who did Kosovo cede from then? Was it Serbia?
2010. So there we have it. 50.
Well, there it is, guys. Again, I'm gonna put the original video in the link in the description. But yeah, some crazy facts for Europe. If you're European, tell me where you're at in the chat, in the comments section. And if you guys love geography, subscribe. See ya.